Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the LA Sevens. This one taking place between New Zealand and Australia. Now, Australia in this group are the only team to have 2 wins from 2, which does mean that if they win this game, they are automatically through to the semi-finals. Now, other than that, if Australia are to lose this game, this group is that close that pretty much every single side can still go through. So it is all down to Aussie. At the moment, if they get the win, they are the one side that are definitely confirmed. And then it all comes down to that Spain versus Fiji contest, which I believe would theoretically put the Spanish through if they were able to win that game up against the Fijians, as they did win the head-to-head up against New Zealand. So yeah, still plenty that can happen throughout the next few matches. Looking through at the starting lineups. First of all, for the Australians, it is Henry Hutchison, Ben Dowling, Aidan Akanayake, Henry Patterson, Maurice Longbottom, Ben Dalton, and also James Turner. For the New Zealanders, Regan Ware, Kitio Nevai, Tony Nashu, Dylan Collier, Akulia Rokalisoa, Frank Vainuku, and Narohi McGarvey Black. So those are the players will be out there in the starting lineup for these two sides. The next game of this group is taking place just around the corner. That will be Fiji versus Spain. That is kicking off in only around about 25-ish minutes time. We are now going to be underway for yet again another match of the Sevens. New Zealand kicking off from left to right for their third game of the day. They did win against Fiji but lose to Spain. So it means that they really do need this win to have a decent shot of making their way through. Come on, New Zealand, says Novmum, but Maurice Longbottom has got one of the first touches of this match. Floodlights are on at the ground, as it was getting a little bit dark for a couple of the other games that we were covering. Where do you watch the other matches, says Yakai. If we're talking about the secondary field matches, Rugby Pass TV does have the option, but Sky Sport 9 here in New Zealand is how I was watching them. But I believe Sky Sport, that is only limited to New Zealand, so Rugby Pass TV might be your best bet. Now going off to the right-hand side here, Henry Hutchinson trying to find a gap, and does actually find a gap in his own back line as he's thrown the ball to no one, but James Turner able to clean it up. Ball pops back out. Kanayaki waiting for this one out on the near side of the field, and now has got the position, goes across to Henry Patterson, who will fire it back across. It is a knock-on in the tackle against New Zealand. I don't think it will be a yellow card, but it will still be a scrum advantage at the moment. Hope New Zealand wins one. They should, says Bruce. The thing is, this competition so far, though, a few of the teams that should win have not been able to. So it makes it very interesting heading into this matchup, and also the next one just around the corner between Fiji and Spain. That one could also bring a bit of an upset, perhaps, on the cards, but Australia working this one back away to the left to Henry Patterson, who tries to go straight over the top of Narohi McGarvey Black. They've had possession since the start of this matchup, Australia, and they do not seem too keen to be giving it up. Against the Fijians, they had a couple really seesaw type of moments, but in the end pulling off the victory. Go back across to the left. The moment Australia just going back and forth, waiting for that opportunity to break through this defensive line of New Zealand. But it doesn't seem like the chance has really come too much. Ben Dowling now, though. They move outside of their 22 and move to 40 metres out from New Zealand's line, but straight over the ball for Frank Vainuku. So as soon as they went a little bit more aggressive, Australia, that is when they ended up conceding, or at least conceding the penalty. Now New Zealand trying to make them also concede the try. Kanayake with a pass on the outside, he's trying to defend on the outside. New Zealand score with Regan Ware. And just like that, Australia have the ball for 2 minutes. New Zealand break through. 20 seconds later, score their try. I have mentioned that New Zealand actually on a 5-match winning streak up against the Australians, so they have been on quite the tear as of late. And just a really nice steal in the breakdown from Frank Vainuku, which did start the whole move. Then Collier got it on the outside to Regan Ware, and he was able to finish it off. Now near the sideline. That kick has gone over. I think they just said if New Zealand win this game, and then is that correct information? I guess it would be, yeah. New Zealand, if they were to win this game, they have just retained their own kickoff again, only just going the 10 minutes. Looked like a little grubber, but it was extremely effective. Yeah, if New Zealand win this and Fiji win their game, then New Zealand would top the pool. By the sounds of it, that is going to be another penalty going the way of New Zealand, sitting about 40 metres out from the line. Narui McGarvey Black, and heavily involved throughout this matchup. Little pop pass up from Australia Rokalisoa. Was fighting with the Spaniards early on, and that one has once again led to New Zealand's try. Henry Patterson just unable to stop him, and Frank Vainuku, after that last turnover, definitely did deserve a try of his own, and that is exactly what he's been able to do. The 6th try of the 7th circuit for that man. I feel like there are plenty more to come for him as well, and again, let's go New Zealand, says Novmum, and the Aussies went nowhere for 2 minutes, says Hanoi, and that will be one of those ones that does hurt the confidence a little bit. If you're Australia, you're just pretty much shoveling it back and forth, not able to make the meters, and at any time New Zealand have touched the ball just throughout this matchup, they probably had less than a minute on attack, and they have scored twice and converted twice too, which could be the massive difference maker for this matchup. But very good start to the match for New Zealand. It's now going to be kicked off high by the Kiwis, and that is knocked on by Australia. No, in fact, it is going to be play on. Maurice Longbottom now going across to the right-hand side. Henry Hutchinson. He's got the option on the outside. Big shot. Hit on Ben Dalton. And let's go New Zealand. Says Kristen. Now loose ball again for Australia. It just seems like they're going for those pop passes and no one's ready for them when they go for them. So that is something that maybe Australia in the second half might be able to adjust, start to find their hands a little bit more, get a bit of territory going, just slowly work their way back into this game. Currently, they find themselves down by 14 with 1.5 minutes remaining, but now Henry Patterson down the wing. They will not catch that man, so he will break away, and that will be Australia's first try of the contest. And they do manage to score it. Of course, points differential is normally quite important, but in this case, comes down to your head-to-head result. So if New Zealand and Australia were both on 7 points, it would mean that the New Zealanders would go through if they were to win this game due to the head-to-head. We'll get out the Kiwis Stone Adventures. Kick has gone over from Australia now with 1 minute remaining on the clock. Score sitting 14 points to 7. And as the table currently sits, New Zealand, they would be in first, but it would also mean that the only team that can actually go on from here, well, in fact, no, New Zealand, if they just win this game, Australia, oh, that's a big shot, coming in nicely, and a big penalty won by Kitiona Vai. Oh, gets them with a little bit of afters too, giving them a bit of a chat. But I think that, yeah, if New Zealand win, Australia gets second, and because Australia were able to beat Spain, it would mean that Australia would be through, I believe. It's a bit of a weird one, though. So I think it becomes a lot more simplistic if Australia are actually the team to win this contest. But of course, for New Zealand, that is not what they will be after. Hey, says Brandon, welcome in. Dylan Collier not able to get the offload away. Currently, New Zealand winning this one by 7 points. Regan Ware around the halfway line, looking for another pass across. Tony Nyashu. Another impressive tackle on him by Dowling, just to stop him in his tracks. They are just after the halftime siren. This is where New Zealand have shot themselves in the foot before. We've seen it multiple times, including one of their most recent games up against the French. That's a knock-on, though, from Australia Rokalisoa. So that will be halftime. New Zealand leading 14 points to the 7. So currently, the way that this game sits, New Zealand would go through to the next stage of the competition. But that does not mean that that is the way that it will stay. Still another 7 minutes to go. Fiji playing Spain just a little bit later on, but it is a massive upset, the fact that Fiji may, going into their game, not even have a chance of making their way through to the semi-finals. On the other side of the draw, South Africa and South Africa and Argentina have been confirmed. So it could be New Zealand. They top the pool. They will face the loser of that South Africa-Argentina game. You're a bit behind on the game. Cheers, Kristen. That is because I am watching on Sky Sport now rather than watching on Sky. And good night, mate. It's been a long day, unlike you. I've had a few beers. Says Fleshin. And there as well. And I want to see more of Kenya and Samoa, says Brandon Game. So they are going to be playing tomorrow. Kenya will have their game up against the USA, whereas for Samoa, they will have their game up against the Portuguese to look forward to. But now, second half of this contest, getting very close. A few changes might be made for these sides relatively early. And Fiji won't make because of your preview. So yeah, Brandon, I mean, we do know how to jinx Fiji. Although last time we said that they may be a little bit rusty. They actually managed to win the whole comp. So yeah, maybe we predicted a bit too high of them for this one. But the fact that, like I said, if New Zealand win this, Fiji don't even have a chance of being able to confirm a spot in the semis is a bit of a big one. Although I don't actually know if Fiji, New Zealand were to lose this game and not receive a bonus point, that would be where it gets a little bit more complicated. Either way, I just don't think Fiji have done enough to be able to advance forward. Matthew Gonzalez, he has made his way onto the field for the Australians. So the early switch at halftime. See if they can get back into the contest. Knock on there for Regan Weir. Looked like a bit of a weird knock on. How he kind of collapsed while trying to take the ball as if they were about to lift him and then decided against it. Hayden Sargent goes off to Matthew Gonzalez. Already it seems like there is that instant impact from the subs because Sargent was another man they decided to bring on at halftime. James Turner goes back across to Sargent. Finds Henry Patterson in the middle of the field. He is running sideways at the moment, but he can be a danger when he gets that inside ball. Kaneake dragged down just short of the line. Sargent bumps out of one, tries to score. He's short of the line though. And I think he's made a massive mistake. New Zealand, I think that might be offside from Narohi McGarvey Black, or at least it should have been. There is an advantage. It's a penalty, and it will be more than likely a yellow card here. As Narohi McGarvey Black pretty much ended up just in no man's land, lying on the ground. Australia, Sargent thought he scored the try. He put it out, extended his arm, was about probably 5-10 centimetres short. So because, it's going to be a yellow card and a penalty try against Narohi McGarvey Black, pretty much because of Australia's pick and go around the side of the breakdown. He was just lying there in the previous breakdown, had nowhere to go. I'll see it in the replay here. I think he was just a bit unlucky. Narohi McGarvey, oh no, it was from the wrong side anyway. Tried to stop the try from being scored, in which it was short, and then from there, Matthew Gonzalez tried to go with a pick and go, and Narohi McGarvey Black was still trying to defend that previous breakdown. So it's just a bit of an awkward one, and it becomes a penalty try for the Australians. It's a kickoff now is the call from the ref. I think Australia thought they were going to have a quick tap there, and well, he gave it. Says Annoy. So yeah, New Zealand now have got a man disadvantage, and okay, they're saying that there's no such thing as a draw, although I think they can still get a draw in the end. Oh, that's going to be knocked on by Roka Lasoa. New Zealand not starting the second half in too great a form. And now Gonzalez and Sargent have been game changers. Gonzalez breaking the line again here for the Australians. But it just shows what a super sub or super two subs can do. And Australia, their coaching and their selections have been on point for the second half start. Another try coming, and Ben Dalton, this time the man that scores it to give them the 19 points to 14 lead. New Zealand flopped it, says Stephen Pope. That penalty try, yellow card has not helped the Kiwis one bit. They find themselves down a man, and Dalton making the most of it out wide. And just cutting back inwards, Collier misses the tackle. Is good for Fiji. It kind of, but not really, because I think Fiji still, on the technicality, would really struggle to go through unless Australia actually, to be fair, if Australia can get themselves a win by more than 7, that benefits Fiji, because if Fiji win their game by more than 7, they will go through, if that makes sense. So for Fiji's sake, The only way I believe that they can qualify for the quarters is if Australia beat New Zealand by 7+. That's going to be a good tackle. Made again, New Zealand having to grab this ball from inside of their own 22. Going to offload it was Tioni Vai. Loose pass goes into the in-goal area now for Tony Nyashu. A bit of a counter-ruck from Henry Hutchison having a bit of a wrestle with Dylan Collier. They've still got the man down, Rui McGarvey-Blake. He will be back out onto the field in the relatively near future. Green New Zealand want to lose. Says Brandon Rokalesoa. Pops it up now. It'll be a chance for Gray off the bench. Another step from Vainuku. Tried to get the offload away. In fact, that time it was actually Maka. Now, another penalty does go the way of New Zealand, which will bring them back to the full 7. There's going to be time off by the sounds of it, just so that they can get all of the players who are supposed to be out on the field out there. Now, Nandori McGarvey-Black making his way back on. 3.5 minutes remaining in this game, and it is a crucial one during the sin bin time. There were 2 tries, including that penalty try that was scored, which did start the whole yellow card situation. Bite snails says Novmum. Yeah, there'll be a few nervous New Zealanders and Australians at this point. Of course, Australia, no matter what, they should be able to go through because of who they have beaten, so they're pretty safe in this regard, but it's New Zealand that at the moment are on the chopping board. And big morning, Amish, still going strong. Says Studs Race, only just. The mine started to shut down a little bit, to be honest, but still got the 2 more matches after this, including Fiji versus Spain, and then from there it will be into the matchup between Argentina and South Africa. And then a very welcome sleep. Dylan Collier going off to the right-hand side again for New Zealand. Rokalesoa showing off his quick step in, but a Kanayaki is there to be able to shut it down. Henry Hutchison going for a counter-ruck again, and he's got himself penalised. Random question, Hamish, but is 7s and 15s linked? Like if you play a 15s international game for Australia, are you tied to Australia for 7s? Could you play... Oh, that's a good question. I assume it's not... Well... It's still international representation, isn't it? That's going to be a great try from Brady Rush. Runs up the middle of the field and does manage to score the try. But yeah, I actually don't know the answer to that one, Lucas. We have got the Hutchison a liability. Says Anoya gave away the penalty and New Zealand made the most of it and now managed to get themselves a try. Who is South Africa playing against after Argentina? That depends on who is facing or who is ranked where in the rankings. But it will either be New Zealand, Australia, Fiji or Spain. One of those 4 sides for their next matchup. And yes, double. And yes, boys, it starts raising and go long. New Zealand says Kiwi Rob. And yeah, with their conversion going over, it does mean it's extremely difficult for New Zealand to lose this game by the more than 7. Australia would need to score 2 tries to be able to help the Fijians out. But New Zealand locking themselves over the ball again. I believe this ball has to come out clean, and it does. New Zealand back with their hands on the ball once more. Going off to this left-hand side, a little bit of quick stepping from Rokalesoa again. Starting to feel it now and feeling like New Zealand can get themselves the victory. How do Samoa Paul work, says Brandon. Honestly, I knew how it worked up until they changed the whole circuit. So I believe now it's whoever's top of the table automatically qualifies for Division 2, then 2 and 3 of each of the groups play off in semi-final type of situations. And Garvey Black, that is the knock-on though from New Zealand. Now, what I will mention is if Australia come back to win this game and Spain beat Fiji, Spain would actually be the side that do go through. Fiji, I believe, would go through on the... New Zealand would go through on the technicality. Yeah, they are just mentioning about how New Zealand... Oh no, they're saying it might come down to points difference here. Or at least defence, says Novmum. And did we win, says Highlander. Still 30 seconds remaining on the clock. So, plenty of time for one last try to be scored. But Matthew Gonzalez thought about putting the ball in. And it's a bit of an ugly scrum, so we will have a reset here. Says Moana Pacifica quarterfinals. Says Ange. Optimistic, but I like it. Moana Pacifica, a side that many people have actually already kind of taken out of the running, but it would be pretty impressive if they were able to get themselves the win over the Highlanders and then win over either the Blues or I think they've got an Aussie side as one of their other last games. Now ready to put this ball in again for Matthew Gonzalez. Oh, a little bit loose. Sargent manages to regather. Rokalisoa told to let that one go. Kanayaki, they have got time on the clock. Well, not a huge amount, of course, because of the fact that we are near the full-time siren. But if Australia can score now, it could mean that New Zealand are knocked out. It looks like they're going to continue to attack here. They haven't got the win as of yet, but they would certainly like to get it. Hayden Sargent goes across to Henry Hutchinson. James Turner with the step manages to get round one. New Zealand need the victory. Australia are trying to deny them. I should also mention if New Zealand were to somehow score again here, that might mean that Australia were to miss out. So, still a chance for a breakaway try perhaps for the Kiwis. Big shot from Sargent, or on Sargent I should say, and it was a high tackle, which means Australia could take the three-pointer if they want it. Do they have a kicker who wants to step up to the task? Looks like Sargent stretching out his neck at the moment. Matthew Gonzalez just trying to decide what the plan will be here. Looks like they're going to make a sub anyway, so that buys them a little bit more time. They're just testing out the neck of Hayden Sargent. So he would more than likely be the man who has to take this kick. Matthew Gonzalez looks keen to run it. Wallace Charlie, the 18-year-old, will get to make his way onto the field. Bit of a limp there. Does not look too good at the moment for one of the Aussie players. Get it, New Zealand. So here's Novmum. But now, like I said, Charlie's going to get one last chance. It looks like the Australians are going to go for the tap. He is certainly a talent for the future. It will be his first tournament. Doesn't normally get a huge amount of minutes up till this stage of the comp. They normally wait until they are knocked out before they start giving those young guys a chance. Referee goes down in a heap. But he will get back up to his feet and try and call this one as well as he can. Hutchinson, look to the short side, doesn't go to the youngster who has to play halfback. He's ready for it, goes across to the left-hand side again. Australia not giving up here. They want that last-minute try. Matthew Gonzalez dragged down 5 metres short of the try line. James Turner again will go back across. Charlie passes to Kanayaki. Sargent in the middle of the field to deny New Zealand, well, at least maybe deny New Zealand the chance, or hung on to by Matt Gonzalez, again short by 10 metres. And the penalty goes the way of Australia again. They will have to be on the mark. Charlie was not quite on it, so he will have to go back to it. This is where we might see Australia opt for the scrum. Of course, the Fijians are supposed to be in action in the relatively near future. Australia once again not going off the mark, so the ref sends them back. The rugby table, 1, Crusaders, Chiefs 2, says Ange. Now, going off to the right-hand side, Sargent goes there, Kanayaki finds Hutchinson, pins his ears back. Oh, that one's going to be similar to the one that happened between Great Britain and South Africa. Now, this one might be hard to find a clear grounding to. Now, the question is, I'm underneath baby, is the comment from one of the New Zealand players. Right. The big decision. I don't think AJ Jacobs has actually made it as of yet. I've got no grounding is the call. So, if Australia ground this one, it will mean that New Zealand will watch that game between Fiji and Spain very eagerly. That was very close to brushing the grass, but they've got no ground. Oh, it's his own hand. Henry Hutchinson, that might have denied him slightly, but this is one of those ones where At some point, I believe the ball might have touched the ground, but from these angles, there's no clear grounding, which means New Zealand will win this match. Hutchinson's been denied. He'll be frustrated as he will feel like he got that one down. So New Zealand have booked their spot through to the next stage. Australia have also, or have they? Actually, I think this one for the cup rather than the league goes down to points differential rather than head-to-head result, which does mean that Australia, they will sit on 7 and eagerly to wait to see whether or not Spain can get the win over Fiji. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're going over to our next live stream now, which is Fiji versus Spain, so we will soon know who makes it through to the semi-finals.